Previously on Lost.
Greetings, Ron Smalek.
And Fellonius the Wizard. We're back with, let's say, a summary of the whole show. Lost.
Previously on Lost.
Yes.
This is going to be our last episode on iTunes.
Yep.
We are going to discuss everything about the series. No, we're just going to give our summary on some loose ends for us.
Yeah, but we can't guarantee that it's going to be one episode of this because we might actually go that far that it's going to be two. Yeah. Right?
So it's our last audio-only recording.
Yes.
And for those of you who watch us on our YouTube channels, there will be another Lost-related episode, but it won't be audio only. It'll only be YouTube. We're actually going to meet and we're going to explore the island ourselves.
Yes, sort of.
So, Lost. Did you like it?
Overall, yes. It's not the best show that I ever seen, but on the other hand, I had no expectations when I started.
Okay.
All in all, I say it's a very nice way of spending my time.
Okay.
But it wouldn't have been as good if I hadn't had you on the other end.
I agree. I'm awesome. No.
but you've seen this for the second or third or fourth or sixth time. I mean, you had forgotten most.
Yeah, well, particularly the final episodes. And it's been probably 7 or so years since I've watched it. I watched it all when it was coming out.
Yeah.
And rewatched some of it at that time. But then it's kind of just been on the shelf. And intentionally tried to forget some things when we started too.
Yeah.
But also tried to watch it knowing the very end. So
yeah.
So it was interesting. I think I'm really happy we got through it. It's not a perfect show. I can definitely point out some flaws, but it's still my favorite. I can't think of any. Well, I mean, what show would you say is your favorite?
I have different favorites for different genres, of course. If you're going to, Mork and Mindy was very fun. But if we're going to go science fiction, I would probably have Space 1999
I haven't
even.
Seen it.
You haven't? Well, don't do it because it was great back in 76. Today, nope.
Oh, is that from 76?
Yep, 76, 77. It was only 2 years. Oh. And actually, one show that I really, really enjoy is, of course, Firefly. But it's not a really good show, really not. But it's so good in a different perspective. So I would probably put Firefly up.
Firefly is pretty good. But you're saying it's better than Lost?
Well, it's not the same thing. I mean, Lost is not a science fiction show. It's more of a spooky, magical. It's not science fiction. Not for me, anyway. It's more of an action drama. It has different types, and I can say there is nothing like Lost out there that I have seen, and I have tried to see in the Dome. There is some 500 or 5,000 or whatever it's called. Mm-hmm. I've tried to see them, but it didn't caught my attention the first episode, so I dropped it. It's like when I read a book, I only give it 50 pages, and if it hadn't caught me in 50 pages, then I'm going to leave that book to be.
Okay. Well, let's stick to Lost. Now, let's do that. We have a lot of different topics, and we have questions and so on. Maybe we should start with our prediction list as of the beginning of season 6. And
yes, because you have that and I don't.
Oh, okay.
I haven't written down
now, some of these were things that we said throughout the show. Some of them were right before season 6. So there's quite a few, but I'll just run through them quickly and then maybe stop me if you want to remark on any. So the first one that I have from your list was, I think from season 1 or 2, that you thought we might find out eventually that Claire is psychic. Didn't happen.
Didn't happen. No, she was nowhere near. She was crazy, but not psychic.
And then I think most of the rest of these are right before season 6. I think we dealt with the previous
Yeah,
ones already.
yeah.
So John can't shoot Jack because he is an island guardian. Basically, that's true because
Yeah, they could. Yeah,
he was a candidate. Mikhail will be back. He was back in the Flash Sideways, but not
that doesn't
in.
count.
Okay. You said no flashback of Richard before the island. We did have one.
Yes, we did.
What's up with the others at the temple? We found that out, but it wasn't the final battle.
Nope.
Widmore kills Locke in the final fight. Nope.
The other way around, almost.
Yeah, pretty much. Richard's going to be the final hero. Not necessarily, but he definitely was one of the few that made it to the end.
Yes, but he became mortal again. That's what's
Yeah.
his big thing.
This is interesting. So you said Jacob was a brat. Do you still feel that way?
Yes,
Okay. And
even more so after the lighthouse thing.
well, seeing him as a kid, I can kind of understand why he did what he was taught. And you said that the man in black, which we really, I guess, should call the smoke monster, is the
Yeah.
island. Sort of.
No,
It's not really the island. It's more just
it's
evil.
the opposite of the island, sort
Oh,
of,
yeah. True. True.
more or less.
Let's see. You speculated that maybe candidates were members who would join the first.
Yes, like the Ilana and those.
Yeah. I don't think that was true, though. The
Nope.
first was like protecting the candidates.
Yeah.
This is interesting. You said that fire cleanses and Jacob is not really dead.
Yeah, well, that one was when they pushed him into the fire, but he wasn't really dead.
Yeah, well, he was able to. His ghost was still around until the ashes were totally gone.
Yeah.
So, okay. The first are the others. Folks on Jacob's list.
Nope.
No, I don't. Well, we don't really know for sure. They could have come from an old group of others, but
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Jacob must have touched them sometime.
Richard came on the Black Rock. Yep, we got that one.
That was pretty obvious.
Whoever walked out of the statue became the leader of the others.
Nope.
No, not really.
The others didn't exist after that.
Time travel is over. Yes, that
Yes.
actually was true, but we didn't realize it that the Flash Sideways was not any sort of
Yeah.
parallel time. If the timeline is reset, they might still land on the island anyway. Nope. Everyone who was touched by Jacob will get back to 2007. Yep.
Yep.
How did that happen again? I forgot now.
No idea.
Hold on a second. Now I'm totally forgetting. Oh, the bomb. No.
Yeah. It must have been. Must have been the bomb.
Yes, that's right. It put them back, and they were separated.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. We will see more flash forwards.
Not many, but there was one or two.
Yeah, not really. There really wasn't, though.
If you're not counting the Flash Sideways.
Yeah. Sawyer or Jack will be versus the Men in Black at the middle of the season. Jack at the end.
Yeah, but that was
Jin-
pretty...
Oh, sorry. Jin and Sun will reunite and be done. That was true.
Yes, they were so done.
Rose Bernard, Penny, and Desmond are done. They weren't done. They were still there. Still
Yep.
important. Hurley will have a positive impact on the Man in Black with Miles. No.
No.
Jack become the new Jacob. Oh, you called that one. Wow.
Well, it was the only obvious, but he was it only for a very short while.
Saeed will be healed by the island.
Nope.
Later mentioned Ben at the Temple Parallel. I mean, he was brought back to life.
Yeah,
by
but that doesn't mean that he was healed.
If they reset the timeline, dead people are still dead. That's true.
Yep.
Okay, now so not bad. I mean, oh,
50-50.
I would say like from the beginning of our watching together, like what I looked forward to almost every discussion was your insights and guessing what was going to happen mostly correctly. I,
Up to a point. Yep.
I mean, the ones I just read were just for season 6, so
Yeah.
that doesn't represent your whole track record of being awesome.
Nope.
So now I have a bunch here that I think most of these are wrong, and some I remember thinking this back in the time, but I knew they were wrong.
Yeah.
Perhaps Aaron will have powers. We never know that.
Nope.
Did
But
Jack?
on the other hand, Walt did get some.
Yeah, I think he got pretty much the shortest end of the stick in this whole series.
Yep.
Both the actor, as far as his screen time, and
Yeah.
his character. That was sad. But did Jack's dad really have a heart attack? For all indications, I'd have to say yes.
Yes.
There was never doubt cast on that. And was his dad part of Dharma and the island? No, doesn't seem like it.
Nope.
Black Smoke Monster is not nanobots, even though I still think that would be a cool idea.
Yes.
Will the island end in an erupting volcano? No.
Ooh.
But
But did pour a little love on us.
yeah, yeah. Who are the ancient people on the island with the four-toed statue? That's pretty much. Well, we don't know. That was there before Jacob.
Yeah.
So Claire will be in season 6. That's great. Who is coming per Jacob? So when Jacob got stabbed by Ben and then fell in the fire, he said they're coming.
Yes.
It had to be Widmore, right?
Yeah, probably.
Is the only person not there yet. Juliet is pregnant. I'm kind of going to have to say that this didn't happen.
As far as we know, but we did guess it from how she died.
That and also like how she, like whenever Bernard offered her tea and
Yeah.
she was like, no thank, like it seemed like there was something there. But
Yeah.
Kate and Jack adopt Aaron from Claire. That didn't happen.
Nope.
Why is Alana in bandages and off the island? That we never found out.
Nope.
And did she turn the wheel and get exiled? We never
Nope.
find that. I had this note that was bothering me for a long time that when the nuke went off and reset the flash sideways, it should have reset from the 70s on and not the stuff before the 70s. But
Yes.
that's because it wasn't actually a different timeline. It was just a purgatory, so that doesn't really pertain.
No.
If the timeline is reset, do we get 2 freighters? I'm gonna count seeing one in the harbor. I
Yes,
think that
do
was
so.
An
Do so.
intentional Easter egg. Let's see. The last one I have. The lie becomes the truth, but what happens to Desmond still happens. So the lie that okay, I know what I thought was going to happen. I thought that when the Ajira plane came back, it
Yeah.
would crash, and basically what would happen is like what happened in the lie, and so what, like their lie was foreshadowing what's going to happen with the next plane,
Okay. Okay.
but that didn't quite happen. So again, those are our predictions, but where do we go next? We want to look
Yeah,
back
where
at
do we- Well, there is a lot of stuff. You just said something that I didn't think of, but the Ajira flight was actually getting up again into the air with Frank Sawyer and many others.
Yeah.
Where did they go?
well, I assume
How did they get greeted?
Yeah, I mean, I assume they're going to have an interesting story when they get back without the Oceanic Six, because, I mean, oh no, wait, Kate Sawyer, they were all on the plane.
Yep.
Jack wasn't.
Nope.
Hurley wasn't. Ben wasn't, but no one would miss Ben.
Miles was, but Miles wasn't on the original flight.
Yeah, yeah,
Sawyer wasn't either.
yeah. There's certainly room for some more story, but
Yeah.
I would actually, you know what I would love to know is how and when each of the characters dies.
Yes,
Because they
some of them.
all, yeah, go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, some of them we really know because we know when Jack dies
Yeah,
and so on. But Sawyer we haven't seen become dead.
right. Yeah, like I'm curious what his and
Desmond.
Juliet was alive at the end, I think. No, she wasn't.
She
No,
was so dead.
she died in the 70s.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd like to know how where they all like where did Kate eventually end up? Cuz I mean, I guess she ends up with Sawyer or Claire or no one.
And
Apparently,
I don't give a hoot.
yeah. Okay. All right. So, speaking of characters and how they die, do we want to go through like
Let's
we
let's just talk about some of them, how they
yeah.
started and how they ended up.
Yeah, that was my original brainstorm for how to best follow the series, and we kind of
Yeah, we did
informally
so.
did it.
Did
Yeah.
absolutely. And I must say that I also said that during the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
The actors has been really, really good. They were losing it at the end because they thought they knew how to do stuff and they couldn't cry when they had to cry and they cried when they shouldn't and so on. But overall, these actors has been very, very good.
Yeah, I can't really think of anyone that I just didn't believe.
No, there was some stuff, well, like Frank Lapidus. His was a bit, but he was a guest star, so we don't count him. Let's start with Jack. Let's start with the character Jack, because when we learn about him, we know that he's a hero.
And he can't let go. He has to
Oh,
fix
he
things.
has to fix, and that was 6 seasons of Jack. It didn't change one bit.
Well, I mean, 5.5, I would say.
Okay, no. Okay. But you know what I mean. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
he didn't really change because it was his destiny. And it is not until he understands that it's his destiny, he he doesn't change anyway. And
yeah.
that feels like, well, it feels like me, sort of.
Okay.
Because I have had some very strange things going on in my life. When I suddenly realized that I had a social disorder, that suddenly, oh, that's why. And that didn't change me either.
It's interesting that you say he changed, on the island, and we kind of saw him let go. But
Yeah.
then after he died, when he went to the purgatory place, he was right back to his original
Yep.
ways, and he had to relearn it again. So
Sort
did
of.
he actually really learn to let go? You
Good
know,
ask.
you
Good
know.
question indeed. But I like it. I like it the fact that they kept him close to the starter character,
Yeah,
so to speak. I like that because we are going to discuss pre-strike, post-strike later on, and this is one of the things that didn't change.
yeah.
The same goes for Kate. She's a stupid woman through and through.
I have
But
to admit, the first time watching the show, like I liked her. This time watching, I just see her constantly flip flopping between the two, and
yeah,
it was too often. Like I can understand once or twice, but
yeah.
there was no. Yeah, there was no. I just can't respect that character anymore.
But it was good played.
Yeah,
You have to at
sure.
least give her that. I don't remember her name anymore, but that doesn't matter. Next up, I want Sawyer. He didn't change much, but he did. He was Lafleur.
Yeah, he. I mean, I think he obviously changed with Juliet
Yes.
when he became like the sheriff or whatever.
Yeah.
He became the good guy, and like
But,
he was going in that direction. You could see it went from the time with the golf course
yep.
onwards. You could see him start, or when they beat him at ping pong.
Yeah.
and he couldn't use nicknames. Like he
Yep.
actually probably had the most change through the whole series.
Yeah. And after he killed Locke's father, or should, or did, I don't remember anymore.
Yeah.
After that, he suddenly realized that was his life. That was all there was to it. And after that, he didn't care much about going off the island. He did, however, tried now and then to, oh, I want to get off the island. And suddenly, no, I don't.
Yeah, not until Juliet died, then he was
Yeah.
done.
Yeah, that was totally done. But he was all over the place, but still the same guy. And he became more likable, I say.
Yeah, you just made. I was just thinking back along your original observation of. So now he wasn't part of the '06, and if he comes back now, is he going to get a golden ticket from Ajira and lots of money? Like then their whole original story is blown away. Anyway, so
Yeah,
who else? Who else is important to talk about?
Locke. But not really, because John Locke turns into a dead person and then suddenly he's smoky.
Yeah,
So
Locke. You
this is
can.
so
Yeah, you can only cover him up to the part where he died.
yes.
And I mean,
Well, his transition is actually exactly on the beach when
yeah.
he suddenly realized that he can walk.
Well, you got to think about leading up to that point. Like he goes through life thinking I'm special, and he's trying to find his specialness or prove his specialness,
Yes.
and he, in some ways, was influenced by himself because he sent Richard back to the past. And
Yeah.
Richard tested him as a boy, told him he was special. So, like, in some ways, his whole life may have been
Yeah.
tricked into. I keep going back to like he was open to coercion. He
Oh,
just
yes.
really was, and he was a little deluded.
But he didn't change that much because he was gullible. Almost
Exactly.
anyone could cheat him from doing stuff. I mean, they could fool him easily. Even his own father could easily fool him. But then again, it's easier you closer you are, and the further you from you are. That's one thing. But it's not. I liked Locke. I did not like the fact that Smokey became Locke.
Right.
But on the other hand, that was psychological from the us watching the show, because we know that John Locke, we can't. He's so gullible, but Smokey isn't gullible.
But at the same time, I like Locke's belief and faith.
Yep.
And I mean, he was not incompetent. I mean, he could throw the knives and he knew
Oh
about
yes.
wilderness and could sense the rain. I mean, he did have a connection
Yep.
to the island. If it wouldn't have been really so Locke did interact with the smoke monster, but he
Yes.
was never guided by the smoke monster
Nope.
either. The smoke monster pretty much left Locke alone and sort of drove Ben to the point of
Yeah.
creating the loophole. So it's it's a it makes me go back to think like how much omniscience, how much foreknowledge did these guys have, Jacob and the smoke monster, that they had these intricate plans in advance that just all worked out, or were they making it up as they went along?
Well, we don't know, do we?
I mean, Jacob having them build a runway for the Ajira plane years before it is even coming, and that's after his death. I mean, to
Yep.
me, that's not a coincidence.
Nope.
But the smoke monster, once he turned into Locke, he obviously didn't have. In fact, I don't think the smoke monster ever had omniscience and knew the future.
No, no,
I
no.
don't think he had that power.
But he must have had some power of feeling of what was going on the island.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, that's cool enough. And
So
then we have Hurley. We need to speak a bit about Hurley
yeah,
because he did change a bit when he started to stop being the Jinx, and we dropped all that number games and stuff. He still became the funny pub bone, and he was, as you said, he was us. He
hmm
was giving us the questions that we wanted to say. He said them,
yeah,
but he didn't get any answers him as well. So, but him as a person, I say that he became the strongest in the connection wise. I mean, he really liked Jack in the end. He really wanted Jack to stay, not going down there and so on. I mean, it was really an emotional Hurley. It was a pitiful Hurley when we met him, and suddenly he's an emotional. He was feeling for others more than himself.
yeah, yeah. I think he gained self confidence,
Absolutely.
and I see he's one that I'm really curious. How did he eventually die? Because
Yeah.
I would think he couldn't, and he would be protector forever with Ben. But they, like, I wonder if he went on his own choosing, or did he, like, did he? We were speculating, did he
Yeah.
give the island over to Walt or something, or
Yeah, well, that is what, well, that's what I say. But
because
it's just a guess again.
yeah, I don't know. And who
And
would
that's
they?
the
Yeah,
problem with Lost. It is two stories. First, we have pre-strike, we have one story. It feels like one story. And then we have post-strike. When the strike was over, we had 5 more episodes, I think, for season 4. And then they have sat down and decided this is how it's going to end, and now let's push everything towards that one. And it feels like it is two different types of stories. I don't like it. That's the part that I really don't like in this show.
see, I admire the storytelling structure. So, the first story that you were talking about is kind of linear from 2000 to 2004, and
Yeah.
then they go back and tell the background and they tell the future resolution.
Yes.
Like they wrap
That's
it,
really good.
and then they wrap it into lots of other little stories. Like it feels different for sure.
It's more open-ended.
And I think we talked about this on the show, or maybe we talked about it offline. But I would sit and watch a program, and let's say that it's 5 years long, like it's a long program,
Yep.
and it's just showing the filmmakers in the writers' room how they came up with their ideas, changed it on the fly, connect what was
Yes.
connected, what was made up at the out of convenience. Like, oh, I would love to know all those backstory details.
Yeah, and I feel like post production, post strike production was which part can we take from the first 3.5 series seasons, and then which part should we just remove, forget, pretend it didn't happen?
Yeah, they
Because there
did.
is some things that just aren't explained in the latter part.
I would say it is true that after like season 3 or in the middle of 3, they just started trimming stuff out
Yeah,
instead of, and they wrapped some things up quickly, like Echo and Ana Lucia,
yeah,
and then later on Nikki and Paulo, and some
yeah.
of the like killing off all the background characters in season 6 because they just didn't want to deal with them anymore.
It felt like it, yeah.
Yeah,
But
but
in the meantime, they had some sort of homecoming meeting anyway, because in the flash sideways,
yeah,
they were still meeting each other, and all the dead persons could meet and have coffee and have a drink and meet at the church and all that. It felt like that part was just for the actors. It has nothing to do with us, and that was the proper ending.
yeah. So
I
that's
still don't like that.
yeah. So that's Hurley. Who else?
No, I don't think so. Saeed was consistent most of the time.
I Unfortunately, I feel like Saeed's character just went down and
Yeah.
down and down, and like there was a brief part somewhere in the middle where we thought he was going to become one of the he was one of the best guys.
Yeah.
Smart, he could fix things, he could go in the
Yep.
jungle, he could fight, and then really after Shannon died,
Yeah.
he and then when he became infected and just
Yeah.
uh yeah.
We really didn't bother much with him, did we? We didn't even bother when we saw him in the Flash Sideways. He
No.
was going around killing Kimi and going get the other guys. Well, actually, we didn't bother with that either.
No, and then
The only
he
fun thing about that was when he opened the freezer or whatever, and that was Jin.
yeah.
That was the only fun thing in that one.
Now, speaking of Jin, I mean, what about Jin and Sun? We should talk about them briefly.
Well, they didn't. They didn't progress anything that I know of.
I think Jin. I think Sun became her own person, and
Oh,
you know, from the initial Sun who was sort of under Jin's thumb,
well,
right?
was she really? I mean, she was unfaithful and had an affair and
Oh,
all that.
that's true. That's true. I was thinking that she became her own person. Like she's on the beach. She takes off her wrap and she's in bikini. Like she
Yeah.
finally had enough, and then she took over her dad's company. And but I guess you're right. Uh,
She was pretty tough against, I think it was Jin's mother, for instance.
no, because she paid her off. But
Yeah, but that's a tough cookie anyway. I mean, why would she do that? Why didn't she ask her father? If
yeah.
she were a brat, as I actually called her
Now,
once.
now I do think Jin became more accepting, and
I am.
I think Jin loosened up a bit though.
Yeah, but he had that status problem
Yeah.
that he was the fisherman's son. And suddenly that didn't had anything to do with anything. And that was good.
It-
Just to
you-
get rid of that.
Just thinking of all those seasons where he had the handcuff still on, and he was like ostracized by the other.
Yeah.
Well, he held himself apart from the other people, but
Yep.
he was fishing for them, and like the language barrier, and him getting in a fight with Michael over the watch, and Michael thought it was because of Sun. Like there was a lot of good stuff there.
Yeah. But it was just to make us get through it, get
Yeah.
another 5, 6 minutes. It had no real bearing on anything but the character.
Yeah, at the end, I guess he was sort of like he was like a sidekick, like Miles and
Yeah.
such. Yeah,
But they never stopped mentioning him or Son as a candidate, and that was cool.
Yeah.
That meant that they were still in the running.
yeah, and then
Up
and
to
then
the
again, they
second.
both gave up their daughter at the end. That sucked.
Yeah, that sucks.
So, what about Ben? Is Ben on your list?
No, it actually isn't because we didn't see him until let's see, it turns up as Henry, right?
Yeah,
I think
Yeah.
it was Henry, and he didn't become Ben until later that season. It's late season 3, I think, or is it
I-
season 2? I don't remember.
it's hard. It's hard, right? It's hard to
Yeah.
remember. Like, I don't think we actually learned his name until he had Kate at the Hydra station.
Yeah, let's see. One of them, he starts showing up.
Yeah.
It's probably season 2. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That reminds me of how much capturing and torturing there was in this show throughout. That was one thing I think they overdid a little bit. They reused it too often.
Yeah, but then at the same time, they could that's one of the reasons they could add the island, because the island healed everyone, even if they were bad people, even if they shot other people, they still could. The island would still take care and heal both the good guys and the bad guys, and they could have made much more use of that in the series.
Yeah. Who else is anyone else on your list that we have to discuss?
Nope. Not
Okay.
that we have to discuss. We can discuss. We can debate them all if we want to.
Yeah, I mean, I think they all had their own arcs, and I, I can't. I mean, even Nikki and Paolo, like, I can't say
Yeah, I have a big question mark on them.
who. So who is your overall favorite character?
uh, well, it's a bit of a problem, but it's actually Rose in the latter stages because she popped up again,
Okay.
and we traveled 30 years back in time. You're still trying to find a way to shoot each other. I mean, when you give it a quote like that, yeah, I like her.
Okay.
And I also like Locke, but still John Locke, not
Yeah.
the Smokey, because Smokey is something else.
Yeah. I.
And I think one of Hurley, of course, Hurley is up there.
Yeah,
Top.
Hurley's. I think
Yeah,
overall, Hurley's my favorite, and
yeah,
not just because he wrote Empire Strikes Back, but he just
yeah,
was
right.
consistently funny, innocent,
Yeah.
helped others. Like I mean, it was hard. Like I really tried to make sure I liked him not just because he ends up as the protector at the end, but
No.
because of like, and even I remember when he was handing out the food, and then he's like, hiding his own food, and I was kind of like,
Yeah.
what's he doing? But that they actually explained it well, and
Yeah.
no, Hurley's
And we
Hurley's
also loved him when he was in the Dharma back in 77.
yeah.
He was really cool there as well.
Oh yeah, always just
And when he started that old Dharma van, that was also cool. But that had to do with his flashback as well. So about starting an old Camaro. Yeah, well, there's something special about Hurley. Very good actor. They couldn't have chosen anyone else now that we look back.
yeah, and he for a time had Jorge Garcia had a podcast that he was doing in
Okay.
parallel with Lost and Beyond Lost. As far as I know, he still lives in Hawaii. He might have come back to California. I can't remember, but
Oh,
and he's pretty responsive. Like I think he replied to one of my emails once, and he
okay.
replies to tweets and stuff sometimes. So yeah,
Right. Okay.
seems
Yeah.
like a genuine nice guy.
Yeah, and he usually be on Comic Con and stuff like that, right?
Oh yeah,
I
yes.
think so too. Perhaps Star Wars Con.
I
I'm
wouldn't
not
be
totally
surprised.
sure. What else do I have? Well, the island. Some short about the island. The thing with the island was that was a character in the first half of the series, or should I say, before the strike hit them. The island itself did not become much. It became a tool for Jacob and Smokey.
Yeah, there's now that I like in the last few episodes, my view of the island changed
Yeah,
because I think the island was just a quirk. There's the light, and the
yeah.
light influences different things. Separate from
But
the light was the smoke monster, which is also separate from the whispers and the people who can't move on.
yes.
Now, I like I definitely like the island as a place. There's so many different ruins from different
Ooh,
time
yes. Ooh,
periods
yes. Oh, yes.
and biomes and everything about the island.
Yep.
But the island itself, it was really more of Jacob against evil at
Yeah.
the end. And there wasn't really much island, and I mean then I get
They could have made it much more different if they wanted to, but because of the strike, that could come again. You never know. So they decided now let's go this way. And once they have decided which way to go, and I'm not saying it was a wrong way, it just feels like they're leaving so much good stuff behind that they couldn't fit in their way of doing the show. And then there are inconsistencies, of course, that happens. Let's go back to the last episode of season 1.
Okay.
Um, I have something called the four group. I have no idea what that is, but I suspect it's Jack. Always is Jack. Let's say the four groups blows the hatch. Oh, it must be Hurley, Locke, Jack, and
Yeah,
so he does it.
because you were tracking how many separate groups of people were
We
going
had a
around.
lot of them. They attacked by a black creature. I suspect that's the time when John Locke was drawn down towards a hole,
Yes.
and Jack stopped it. Right?
I think
Somehow.
someone pulled him up out of the hole. Yep.
Yeah. Now, let's face it, that wasn't the black smoke monster that we later on is going to be known as the one who can throw anyone far away and kill people with just the around.
Well, I mean, do you think it could have been the black smoke monster just trying to scare them? I mean,
Why? He wants
later.
to get off the island. We didn't know that in season one, but if we're going to have consistency, we have to go backwards and look at the smoke monster who wants to leave the island. So why not drag Mr. John Locke a bit?
Well, in Danielle's early timeline, it dragged one of her team members down into the
Yeah.
hole too. So it does. That is one of its behaviors. Is
Yeah,
to
but it's not an animal. It's an intelligent being that can figure out how to get off the island.
yeah. You're,
But we
you're
didn't
right.
know that then. So they used this as some magical, scary stuff. And I liked it when it was magical, scary stuff. When it became Mr. Smokey, it wasn't fun anymore.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah. So that's one of them.
Yeah.
And I still don't understand why Walt couldn't feel anything about the smoke monster. That's one thing. We also called it the safety robots.
Oh, the security system. Yeah.
Yeah. Totally wrong, right?
That is almost the opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't really understand that one. Let's see.
I mean, talking about inconsistencies, I still don't really understand the purpose of someone was trapped in the cabin behind with the ash.
No.
Who was supposedly there? Was it Jacob trapped, but he was out doing things, so it couldn't have been? Was the man? It wasn't Smokey because Smokey was going around. Like I
Yep.
still don't understand the cabin for sure.
No. That's because Jacob wasn't. They haven't realized what Jacob was supposed to be.
Right.
So they made it mysterious, and I like that. That's the part that I like. That I also miss a lot when they restart afterwards.
And Ben thought he was faking, but Desmond actually did see something there.
Yep.
Like, I think they could have actually solved that part by making it clearer that when Widmore tied Desmond at the end up to the chair and he put that big coil of electromagnetic,
Yeah.
like if they would have just shown Desmond flash back to the cabin and be
Yeah.
there, that would have explained it all.
Oh yes, that would have been easy.
But I don't think that happened.
No, they just removed that part and hoped that everyone had forgotten it. We have also the fact that the smoke monster killed Mr. Echo.
Yeah,
We don't know why, because at this time we didn't know about the cave and the list. Was Mr. Echo a candidate? I suppose he was.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so. I see. One of my questions for you was like, if you could change one thing about this show, like what plot line would you change or take out? And I was gonna say Mr. Echo's plot
Yeah,
line.
well, I totally agree with you, because John Locke and Mr. Echo had something going, and suddenly the actor who plays Mr. Echo didn't want to be part of it anymore, and that's not they should just pay him more.
I think the problem was, I don't think it would have been a money thing, but I think that the way that they wrote him out of it, they wrapped up his story and they gave his background and stuff.
Yeah.
But nothing that he did really helped any of the main story. It was just a distraction at the end of the day.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
Same,
Let's
yeah,
see.
same with Anna Lucia. Like
Yeah.
I think the whole tail section, other than Bernard, they all died, and of course Libby was important, but they could have just as easily had Libby with the original cast and
Absolutely.
Bernard. So
Absolutely.
the whole tail section,
I mean, why couldn't they? Why
yeah.
couldn't Michael shoot Juliet instead? That would have been more nice. Or Kate.
Oh my goodness.
And
So
then we have. I think this is part of the smoke monster. Ben thinks that Locke is the island's Jesus who is going to save you them all. But because he can't kill, he isn't Jesus. That is when Ben is going. When Locke is going to kill his own father. I mean, that is a totally different part of the story, and that just drops afterwards because Ben doesn't give. He doesn't have the power. Now, in that case, why didn't he go and fetch the smoke monster? Because he couldn't. Of course.
yeah, a lot of the rules are sort of strange too. Like I guess I don't understand why Jacob would have a rule about your leader has to kill their father, because that doesn't have anything to do with his past.
No.
I
There is
mean,
one thing that is consistent actually during most part of those seasons. And not nearly every character is asking about the smoke monster, the black monster, or whatever it's called. Anyone, I mean, even Boone, I think, was asking about what was that. No one answered it. Ben, who should know, was asked by John Locke once, but nope. Ben just steers away the conversation to something else.
yeah.
Doesn't answer. Now, that is one of the things that I think the writers was grasping at straws because that was an important thing, the relationship between Smokey and Ben.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
guess so. I mean, I think Ben was taught that it was the security system and here's how you can summon it, and
Yeah,
otherwise you don't want to be around it. And
exactly.
I don't think he really had any clue what was
No.
really there.
And that also gave us the reason that we didn't think that Ben had ever talked to Jacob.
Yeah, and like somehow I remember lots and lots of discussion and examples of where the black smoke monster didn't like
Yeah.
technology and didn't understand science, and like I don't know if any of that
No, no, we don't really. We also have something here. What was that? Oh, yeah. Kimi and his army of 4 men. There were 5 of them. They were shooting all over the place. Smoke Monster attacked them.
yeah, you
Yeah.
said you gave a good reason of why it let them live, and now I can't remember what it was.
No, but me neither. Because this is when we have restarted the season. We have now restarted season 4. And I thought there was a reason because those who die on the island, they stay there. What dies on the island must stay on the island.
Yeah,
It
not
seems like
quite.
that Smoke Monster didn't want them to die there. He just wanted to frighten them. But how do we connect that with the fact that Smokey also want to leave the island? I
I
mean, wouldn't it be better to kill one of them, take their body, and leave with Kimi?
so I think he knew that he couldn't leave while all the candidates were there,
And Jacobs was still.
and
Yeah.
he didn't think about leaving until he was in Locke's body and could actually do it.
He
Like I
wanted to leave from day one. We saw that in his
Yeah,
flashback.
but I think he knew. I think he was bound though that he couldn't leave until later, so he didn't try, and he didn't waste time with
Okay.
the thought. I'm just guessing, right?
And you said that Christian in Jacob's hut, that was the smoke monster.
That's what he told. Ben or Jack. That's what he admitted to. Now, whether or not he was lying, I I mean, I think it's easiest to assume that he was pretending to be Christian.
Yeah. And outside, Hurley and Ben is splitting a chocolate bar. That was
Yeah.
so cool.
Yeah, that was funny.
And remember that. Hurley and Ben. And who do we have in the end? Yes, Hurley and Ben. So that's where it all started.
Yeah,
Split.
there's another incident that I have that sort of didn't quite make sense, and that's when Sawyer and these guys were flashing back and forth through time.
Yeah.
And at one point, they're at the beach and they find a Jira bottle.
Yeah.
So we know that now they're in the future because
Yes.
this is after a Jira came. And then they find an outrigger, they get into the water, and
Yeah.
suddenly there's another canoe behind them and people are shooting at them.
Yeah.
We never find out who was in that canoe or where that canoe came from.
Could it be Ilana's gang? Or was it Charles Widmore's gang even?
It seems like it, but we never
No.
find that
No,
out
no,
for
we
sure.
didn't get
That was kind of a strange thing that I was hoping we would eventually see the answer to.
How do we feel about Ben killing John Locke? Because when Ben killed John Locke, suddenly the smoke monster got a body, but would he have got any other body?
Well, I mean, so the first part of your question, how do we feel about Ben doing that?
Yeah.
I mean, we see him do pretty much the same to Widmore.
Yeah, to most
I
people.
mean, Ben. See, I want Ben to be a good guy who lies to protect the island, but
Yeah.
he's also jealous and wants
Yeah.
to power for himself. And you definitely see him not afraid to kill for that. At least
No.
up until the part at the very end where he
I
finally.
think when John Locke is coming back as a live person, he tries to explain it, Ben, with that we have to have you killed because the others won't go back to the islands otherwise. But that's not the real reason. We know that.
No, and in fact, who told? So How did Ben, off the island, get informed of what needs to happen, like all that stuff?
Exactly.
Because I don't think so. Jacob never talked to Ben. He talks to Richard. Richard talks to Ben.
Yeah.
So, well, I guess we have to assume that Richard and Jacob. Again, Jacob knowing that he's going to die, knowing that it's going to have to come back around a second time,
Most likely.
guided Ben to do that stuff. But
Yeah.
but then you see Jacob always telling people they have a choice,
Yes.
and it is.
It
I mean,
seems like we have a choice. Yeah, right.
It gets very complicated if you actually think about it. It seems less to make sense. If you just let it happen, it feels good.
Oh, yes. But again, I think the problem is that they had that strike mid-fourth season. And I think that made them suddenly realize we need to get a finish for this. Why not do that now that everything else is not going anywhere?
Yeah, but if they didn't do that, the show, I think, would have just kept going until it just was completely garbage.
Yeah.
I mean, at least
It was going that way.
yeah.
And we totally loved the flashing around in time. That was one of the most exciting things from the latter part. I totally love that. Let's see. Isabel? Did we see her anymore? The sheriff? Nope.
No. I forgot. Oh, she died. She died. Did she
At
die
Hydra.
in one of the explosions when they
Yeah, I
had
think
the hidden explosives? They were pretending they were asleep.
Yeah.
I think she died there. I remember when it happened, but I don't remember now.
Yeah. One of the things that I really loved about this show was when they connected dots we didn't even know there were dots. I'm always talking about connecting dots in this show because there are several
Oh yeah.
crossovers. I mean, do you remember who owned the boat Desmond got to use for
Yeah,
that race?
that Libby's husband. Or
Yeah.
Libby, yeah.
So Libby loans the boat to Desmond.
Yeah.
And later she will be killed at the place where Desmond has been sitting for 16 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
And neither of them has changed in their appearance.
Yeah.
They look like they were 16 years ago. But that is one of the fun things. I mean, I'm not trying to explain it or anything. It's just one of those things. And when you then add Jacob to the mix, I mean, how long has Jacob been watching these guys? That's
Well,
one of them.
I mean, since they were little kids,
Absolutely.
Sawyer.
That we know for a fact.
Yeah, that's another interesting thing is how Sawyer went to them at different points. Some before the island, some after the island.
Yeah.
Some as grown-ups, some as kids. Like
Yep.
that's
Yeah, well, there is one really fun thing about that. You also usually started to mention a lot about the internet being a part of this show.
oh yeah.
And is it good or bad?
I think in a show that has a lot of intentional mysteries, long complicated mysteries, I think it's good.
Yes, it
And
gives you something more to talk about, at least around
but
the water cooler.
yeah, they have to keep them realistic, and they have to admit when the show, like, they can't make them obvious,
Nope.
and they have to make varying levels of, obviousness, levels of, like, they have to admit when the audience figures it out. They have to reveal it pretty soon. If they drag it out
Yep.
too long, it'll get
Yep.
irritating. I mean, honestly, I can't think of that many shows. I say
I
this,
would
but
say any. I mean, we had something similar in Twin Peaks, if you remember that one.
I was thinking the exact same thing. I think
I
a lot
really want
of,
to see that one again because I've only seen half of it first season.
yeah, that was, well, if you've seen the whole first season and not the second season, then you're probably good.
Yeah. Well, that was what I was told as well. So,
Yeah, it's
but
totally
I had
true.
no time start to watch TV back then, so I didn't second season.
I think overall it's good. Now, there's also this question of week to week versus binge watching it, right? Because,
Absolutely, we have been discussing that as well.
yeah, in the modern day, if you binge watch something, you really can't discuss it
No,
over a period of time. And we sort of did a hybrid, like three at a time.
yeah, and that was restrictive enough, I say.
Yeah.
I think we actually choose a very good format there.
Yeah. And I think if the show, the show is filming episodes like they're working on the final ones while they're still airing the first ones.
Yep.
So there is an opportunity to course correct, but they can't get too far ahead, but they can't fall behind. Like, it's a very complicated dance. I overall, as a viewer, think it's great.
Yeah.
And
But there are also those who was watching this and are trying to read anything into everything that has
Yeah.
happened.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
that blade was actually doing a left move instead of a right move. That
Oh,
has
yeah.
to mean something.
oh, I can't tell you how many false theories were put out. Oh my gosh.
That has to be. I mean, that's a podcast for its own, I suspect.
Yeah. Now the good thing about this show and a few other shows, most other shows, I guess nowadays, is that they also had a podcast from the creators of the show.
Yes. Oh yes.
After every episode, they would talk about what happened and give you a little behind the scenes. That was awesome.
Yeah.
And that's how you knew for sure that they were listening, because like they also talked about the fan theories and what they didn't spoil anything.
Nope.
But I think just being aware of your audience um, in this type of show is you have to nowadays. I mean, you really
Yeah.
have to. You have
Oh,
to reply on Twitter. If you're just silent, I think a lot of people will.
we know that who are having our own channel on YouTube. If you don't answer the comments, you are pretty soon going to be all alone.
Exactly.
That's really live together, die alone, right?
Yeah. Yeah, really.
Let's do some quotes. I read a quote, and you will tell me
Oh,
who, is,
cool.
who said that.
Oh, fun.
You are the closest to what I could call a friend.
Gosh, I'm pretty sure that was between Jack and Sawyer, but I don't.
Yes, it was.
And I
It was
can,
Sawyer.
yeah, I can picture when it happened. Okay.
That was cool. Then you took that one easy. Um, that dude sees the future, dude.
Okay. I'm gonna say it's Hurley, but it could be Miles.
Yes, it could be either, but I think it's
Hurley,
Hurley.
yeah.
And it's about
Desmond.
Desmond.
That was him talking to Charlie. I remember
Yeah.
now.
Stop feeling sorry for yourself because someone said you're going to die. That was also a fun one.
Okay. That probably was Hurley to Charlie.
No?
No?
Yes, it was. It was Hurley. Sorry.
Okay.
That is true. He's moping, Charlie.
Yep. Yep.
And that's when they doing the bus, the van.
Yeah. Yep.
This one is a tough one. It could be anyone, but I know who it is. Welcome to the wonderful world of not knowing what the hell is going on.
That's Miles.
I think it was to Kate, or was it to Sawyer? I can't remember. It was, yeah, I would think it was to Kate, actually. I like that. Did you phone that one?
Was that a quote?
Yep. Did you phone that one?
Did you phone that one?
Did you call that one? Sorry.
Oh, I have no idea.
I think it's also Miles went to Ben because, because he was back and tried to get the smoke monster to appear.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah.
You
Okay.
called that one? Yeah, that was a new. I need a cool code name.
Oh, okay. That, again, I think is either Miles or Hurley, but I'm going to guess that it's Miles.
It's Hurley.
Because Hurley kind of had a cool. Yeah, I can picture.
They are fun. They are really fun. I really love these ones. We're not going to Guam, are we?
That's Lapidus.
Yep. To
That's whenever he sees Jack and the others on
Yes.
the Ajira flight.
Yes, that's true. Let's see. What's this? People are trying to kill each other. Kill us again. What's going on? Someone is asking.
It feels like Hurley.
That is Hurley. Totally true. And then we have the one that I really love. See you in another life, brother.
Oh.
Brother.
Well, that could be Jack and or Desmond.
Yes, it could actually.
Yeah.
Jack is using that at the end.
Yep.
Oh, I have. Yes, that was Rose. We traveled 30 years back in time. You're still trying to find ways to shoot each other.
Oh, yeah. I would have got that one.
Well, what do we absolutely know is true in this series?
Oh, goodness. I mean,
How did let's start from the beginning. Was there a plane crash, Oceanic 815? Did it go down?
yeah.
Good.
Everything happened.
Who did it?
Well, Desmond.
Are you sure?
Basically, Desmond not pressing the button caused.
Are you sure? It could be Hugo.
How could it be?
He's a jinx,
Oh,
right?
no.
You see, already at question number 2, we are starting debating if it was true or not. That is one of the good things with this show. We cannot be sure. Well, we can be sure that we have seen it, but we're not totally sure what we have seen. And that is a very good thing for this show. But, well, what could we ever do to top this one off?
That I have no idea. I know.
We're still debating it.
Yeah, exactly. We've talked about a lot of things. I mean, you mentioned on this show Firefly. That kind of could be interesting.
Yeah.
But
13 episodes, but it's more or less some Western movie.
it's just, yeah. So do you of the whole show? Do you have like if you had a gun held to you and you had to give your one favorite moment of the whole show? What do you think?
Well, it has to be the van.
Yes,
I mean,
I knew it. That's what I wrote in my notes. He's gonna say the VW van.
because I like the Type 2 vans from the Volkswagen. I would love to have one my own. That was a Type 2 second version, by the way, from 71 forward. Yes, I'm not much of a car person otherwise, but when it comes to that van and seeing Hurley trying really hard to get that one to start, and when it did, the happiness of his face, and actually you should probably see the same on my face as well. That is one of the moments that I will never forget. I will probably not remember from which season it is or from which episode, but that was one of the absolute favorite ones. That episode I can probably watch over and over again.
And they brought it back in the New Man in Charge. That was good.
Yes, they actually had a band there.
What do you think my favorite moment is?
Oh dear, you had a lot of them. You had one or two. We had that Desmond and Penny at Christmas is one of your favorites. I know that.
The constant, yep.
when you had to cry for 15 minutes or so. It was good. It was good, and it was very good, well timed as well. So I'm not saying anything against it. What else? No, that is about it.
That one, I think close second might be when they first find the hatch, and just the whole idea of some random buried technology on an island that shouldn't be there, and they're going to dig it out, and it's just this mystery. They don't know what they're going to find.
Yeah.
I mean, so kind of like if I don't have a lot of recurring dreams or like, daydreams for that matter, but finding a secret door that leads to a place of mystery is like,
no one has been there for like 50 years. That would be cool.
Yeah. And like, I mean, even before Lost, I used to like, walk around forest preserves as a kid, just looking for a secret door in a hillside.
Well, that could be. It could be. So, yeah. Well, I hope you all out there has your favorite Lost moment. I know some of you have. And it has been a very, very good trip to do with you, Ron.
Yeah.
How do we end this?
I don't know. I don't want to.
Feels like we know exactly. Exactly what I was supposed to say. I don't really sure that but I don't have any more notes.
No more Lost.
Thing to do now is probably go and see that in chronological order. I have no idea what that's going to be.
Yeah, we touched on the video games. We touched on the internet, the board game, the magazines.
And I have actually made a review of the board game. I don't know when it will occur, but it might actually be around when we release this episode.
Yeah.
But it is in Swedish and on my channel, but I have translated everything that I say into English. So just use the subtitles. Sorry, the subtitles. So you can understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah, for me, the next thing we do when we walk the island
Yeah.
I mean, that's gonna really be the real closure for me
Yeah.
because that's kind of where you and I first started
Yes, it is actually.
talking, and I mean, it's such a good representation of the show and stuff.
It's a
So
good full circle for you and me as well. Yeah. And
yeah,
for Lost.
so that'll
Well,
be the real tearjerker episode. This one, yeah, but it's been great. I thank you
yeah.
so much. I mean,
We have had a good time.
mm,
Absolutely.
and yeah, I'll just because it's the last audio version. I'll say thank you to my good friend Sean, who you probably don't know this, but is actually hosting the iTunes episodes from his server,
Oh,
the server where all of his podcasts get served up from.
okay. Thank you, Sean.
Yep, and thank you to Baker Bell, Thungon, Scofert, everyone,
Prof.
Prof.
Snape, of
Snape.
course,
At,
started this.
in fact, we would so no kidding, we would not be doing this right now without Prof. Snape
No,
building that map, and then yeah, I mean I probably wouldn't even still have a YouTube channel,
me neither.
to be
Me
honest.
neither.
I mean, he and I had some adventures in 2011 and
Yep.
had lots of discussions about what does it mean to be on YouTube
Yeah.
and about sticking in there, the long being the longest
Yes.
reviewer.
And you
I
even
mean,
went to Minecon and had a
yeah.
panel together. So you have been doing a lot of stuff.
So, thanks to
Well,
everyone.
it's good to have those kind of friends, right?
Yeah, and I mean, if you've listened this far, that probably means you like Fellonius and or I,
Well,
and I don't really know. I mean, other than some Pokemon Go stuff, like what I'm gonna have quote unquote regular on my channel. Like this is the so this is the most regular thing I've
yeah.
done ever on YouTube.
And
This,
I've also prioritized it highly because this is very important.
but you have other series that
Yes.
this certain day. Like for
Yeah.
me, like this is the only thing I've ever stuck to a schedule for an entire series on Saturday,
Ooh.
5 o'clock every week.
Yes.
I mean, we did 30 episodes at least,
Yeah.
and not. I mean, usually mine is like I put them up like 10 a day or one every random number of days. Like, no, this is
Yep.
this
Each
this
Saturday, 5 o'clock Central Standard Time.
this
That
show.
is midnight back in my time, of course, but that's not the point.
Yeah, this show checked off many boxes for me. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
We will remember this with joy.
So
Yeah. See you back in our walk on the beach.
it's been
Then.
fun.
Yep.
Cheers.
Bye.